So a little bit of a shorter topic here where we talk about changes in the labor force over time because it's self-explanatory and pretty self-intuitive. So how has a US labor force constantly changing? It's been changing since the 1950s all the way till today. And we can see that these are the few categories of how the labor force has changed. Number one, with population growth. Obviously, if we have more workers, if we have a greater population growth, then we're going to have more available workers. So therefore, the labor force is going to increase as well. So nothing doing with this one. Very, very self-explanatory. With demographic changes, we notice that the makeup of our labor force has also been changing as well. We notice that the average age of the population has been increasing and that we have more older workers within the labor force. And a lot of the older workers nowadays, they are continuing on to continue to work. They're delaying their retirement. So we do notice that, hey, there is a larger group of people that are older within the labor force, and that helps to raise the sort of average age there. With birth rates, we have a declining birth rate. So that once again tells us that our population is getting older. It's not getting younger. So therefore, that's going to change how the labor force looks like as well as immigration. So immigration, as we have more immigrants coming into our country, that is going to change exactly how the labor force looks like too. Before, we had very little immigration in the 1950s and so forth, but now as we've opened up our borders just a little bit more, we do notice that, hey, immigration has helped to change what the labor force looks like. Number three, socioeconomic reasons. So more women working in the 1950s and earlier. Remember that, hey, there was only one person that should be working, which was the men. But now we do see that we have opened up our thinking quite a bit, and a lot more women are in the labor force nowadays, and they're doing the same exact jobs that men are doing as well. So there is a lot more women labor force participation nowadays. And as we've already mentioned before, more and more people are delaying their retirement. So our workforce is getting older. Finally, economic conditions. We do have more discouraged workers. So discouraged workers is something that we're going to hit on later on, but discouraged workers are basically people that have become so frustrated with the job search that they give up looking for a job. We know that they want a job, but they have given up looking for a job. So they're actually going to be counted not in the labor force, even though we know they want a job. It's just that they're so frustrated, they don't match up with the definitions in order to be met as unemployed. And we do notice that more and more workers are going back to school. So it really depends on the economic situation as well. We see that in times of recession, more and more people, more and more workers are going to go back to school because they have no other choice. And when they go back to school, that causes the labor force to change as well. Maybe get a little bit better educated once we get out of the recession or economic times become a little bit better. And we also do see more workers going back to school if the wage differential between those that have an education or a college degree and those that do not have a college degree gets greater and greater. So as we can see right here, as we notice, these are the four sort of main things that are going to change our labor force or how our labor force has changed over time within the United States. So fairly self-explanatory and self-intuitive, as we've already stated.